It's FANzine Live. I've been shagging balls, kicking goals. Oh my God, I have no hamstrings left. But you guys need to watch videos. And it's spring break, and so I'm going to show you some videos. I'm thinking this time I'll probably do maybe a world zine. We've had some really good ones in the past. Maybe a first person. Did you guys ever see the one that Chris Barandio did? It was really great. Did it at CXC a couple of years back. So, yeah, I hope you
Al, are
enjoy.
you dead? If you don't get up, I'm gonna kick this ball at your face.
Oh, crap. Okay, I guess I better get the show started. Enjoy the video. Oh, God.
Hi, my name is Christopher Sporandio, and I'm on FANzine Live, first person. And this is my book. It's called This Year is Next Year's Last Year. And it's published by a really great comic publisher called Kush, based in Riga, Latvia. And Kush makes indie comics. I think they're the best comic book publisher in the world, frankly. Of course, I'm biased in saying that. They make mini comics, they make mini anthologies, and then they do these monographs, which is what my book is. And they have open calls. So if you're an emerging artist, a young artist, or an old artist like me, submit to their open calls, and maybe you can get some work published with them. You'd be very lucky. So my book is This Year is Next Year's Last Year, and it opens with spider webs, and then the entire book has this sort of like aged, decrepit quality that I love, and I feel like mirrors my soul. And then this sort of ugly drawing of a kind of interior of a comic book. And basically what I've done is I'm using vintage comic books from the public domain as kind of raw material, and I make collages from those old comics, including like advertisement as well as like the main character of the comic. I use those as underdrawing, and then I make ink drawings over top of those collage pieces. And then I scan everything, and it goes into Photoshop where I do the color and the lettering. And this book I drew in ink in my studio in Mexico City last summer, so summer of 2023. And I drew it in about 4 weeks. So more than a page a day, like 2 pages a day of ink drawing. I was insane afterwards. And what I did is I made all the drawings, and I had a kind of rough idea of what the story was, but then I wrote the story after I made all the drawings. And to any of you comics makers out there who might have an idea to do that too, don't do that. That is not how comics should be made. The words and the pictures should come together. Anyway, so this is a sort of a ghost story. It's a sort of rumination on death, and it's meant to be a comedy. So if you can wrap your head around that, and yeah, and it really kind of jumps around. One of the things that I really love about those old comics, especially the old horror comics, is they would have, just for no reason, they would have like skulls inserted into the story at different points, I guess to up the horror level of things. And so I started just inserting weird cartoon characters into the story for no reason. Like there isn't a linear reason why that goofy dog is there, or this cat. But anyway, I won't try to read it to you or tell you what it's about. I'll save that for when you download a pirated PDF of this. You can read it. You can read it then. I do like Casper, the friendly non-viable fetus. This story is about how basically that abortion is part of women's health care, and that the current sort of fracas over abortion is wrong-headed in the extreme, and to leave women alone and let them make their own decisions. But I thought when I was a kid, I often worried about what happened to Casper. Like, Casper's the friendly ghost, and he's a kid. Like, how did he die? How did Casper die? Where's his body? Where are his parents? And so when I saw this, when I was thinking about abortion rights, and I was looking at Casper, and I thought, if you colored him differently, he'd look like a fetus maybe. And so that's where I went with that. And this ghost character is also kind of a nod to Casper. So the book's kind of all over the place. Here's another random skull. So there's the comic, and it continues, and it's very funny. And there's fake advertisements in here for the advertisements, I actually used scans of the old ads and then just rewrote the copy for it. There's no need for me to draw that watch. It would take me forever. And so then the book kind of ends, the comic bit kind of ends, but then I have a magic book in here, a kind of spell book. So if you wanted to commune with the dead, you could use this spell book. Of course, there's, cat piss is featured pretty heavily in here. Kryptonite. And then there's a made-up book about games, because I knew that I wanted to include a board game in my comic. And so this is actually a playable board game on the back of the comic. And the rules for that board game are right here. Rules for 2 players, and you can read the rules here. But I wanted to frame it in the context of when they dig up Egyptians, when they dig up mummies, they often find this game buried with them, and it's a game of the afterlife. It's called Senet, and I really love that idea that the Egyptian religious beliefs were codified into a board game. Here's actually an illustration of that. I'm not making this up. This is real, although all of this is made up, but I'm not making it up. So I decided to make up a fake board game called Croatoan that was played by the early settlers of America. And so you can play Croatoan right here. So that's my book. It's called This Year is Next Year's Last Year. Cush Comics is the publisher, and run right out and buy 5 copies of this because it's really rare and valuable.